Yep, there we go. In five, four,
Yay.
3, 2. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? You're now tuning into the Homo Talk Show right here on Verse TV, and I'm your boy, Troy Weeks Music. And I want you guys to go check out my new single, Money, with my band G Groove on YouTube. Just type in J.I. Groove. Also, so let's get started. Let's see who else we got in the building. Who else we got in the building today?
Well, you got Z Fly, founder of Forever Live Young brand, specializing in radio music and exotic dance. You can find me at Real Hot Fresh to learn all about it. There you go.
That's right, y'all. He's one of my bosses. He's my other boss. Without further ado, who else we got in the building? Special guest on 100th episode. This is week 100, y'all. Week 100. Who we got in the building? Finalized week 100 this week.
Yes, I'm Michael Ward. I'm half of Black Gay Stuck at Home, a virtual queer movie screening series that uplifts Black queer filmmakers past and the future. Check us out every 2 weeks at bgsah.com_BGSAH on Instagram as well. So I'm so excited to be here with y'all.
Awesome. Right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Wesley, for being here. We're excited to have both of you. But before we get started, we just like to let them find out where people are from. You already know week after week 100 now. I'm telling y'all, I'm from Harlem, New York. I'm not in New York today. I'm actually in Atlanta today. So, representing Atlanta today. So Z-Fly, tell the people where you're from, where you represent.
Yes, so I'm living in Queens, but moving back to Brooklyn. So there you go.
Boom, just like that, right? Okay, cool. Okay, Michael, let people know where you're from, where you represent.
Well, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm from Duval. So I'm a Southern boy, y'all.
I love how you said that. I'm not gonna ever forget that. So without further ado, let's get into this Homo tea. Aaron, could you read our first topic for me?
All right. Our first topic, entitled Anti-Porn, is coming from the SLtrib.com. So that's Salt Lake Trib, Salt Lake City, Utah, Tribune.com. And its anti-pornography bill is derailed after Utah lawmakers declined to take a vote. So, some representatives in Utah are attempting to pass a bill to help its citizens by requiring all cellular manufacturers to activate parental-styled filters to block unapproved content on their phones before their phones can be sold in the state of Utah. Now, Representative Ryan Wilcox, Republican from Ogden, Utah, said, quote, "I am extremely concerned about the unintended consequences of handing off our responsibility of parenting our children to big tech," end quote. He also said, quote, "If we do this, I don't see a way around these manufacturers requiring permanent location tracking on me and my kids. I don't trust that. And I don't believe that is our role," end quote. The question, where do you stand on this debate, keeping the filters on phones, making them put filters on phones before they can be sold? The idea was mainly to block porn. Anyway, what do we think?
So, on this topic, being that I am a parent, I feel like it's a parent's job to do those blocks. I don't feel like I should put that on. We should put that on the phone company, because then that's too much stuff they're already accessing, like he said, trying to put us on, keep tabs on us in many ways, and especially if they're not going to allow them to buy a phone. If this law doesn't pass, they will have to go out of state to buy a phone. Like, it's not like all the people of Utah would have to go somewhere else to buy a phone. So that makes no sense. So I feel like that's just too much. The government already has access to a lot of our business without us having access and knowledge and knowing it. So no, I don't agree with it. I think that there are parental settings on certain things for a reason. And so I think that as a parent, we should pay close more attention to that and monitor that versus putting that responsibility on a cell phone company and now tap into some things that will infect our lives as well, not just our kids. And so, yeah, I don't agree with it. But that's my 2 cents on. I'm gonna go to you, Z-Fly, on this one. What do you stand on this?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I just feel like, for one thing, I feel like if phone companies do that, it's gonna make the parents more lazy. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, it's the parents' responsibility to filter what their children are watching. Another thing, parents should want to filter or you know what I'm saying, know what their child is watching. Like for example, I have a sister and my nephew. I always be telling her, what is he watching? And then, she's, just because he likes fun things like, wrestling or whatever, but, as they grow older, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the innocent things that they watch, it becomes other things that they're listening, that are looking at. So yeah, I just feel like parents need to stop being lazy and, just go ahead and know what their children are looking at. And plus the government, you know what I'm saying? They know enough things already because, you know what I'm saying? I have like an Alexa, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes she's over there listening. I'm like, well, who turned her on? I didn't even say her name. So yeah, so we definitely don't need the government in our business anymore. And then I'm pretty sure y'all have been on I'm pretty sure y'all have been on your phones. And you know what I'm saying? Like for example, let's say you go buy some onions or something, one day, and then all of a sudden onions start showing up in your scroll. You be like, I didn't search onions, but somehow they know like what you're buying and what you're doing. So yeah.
Absolutely. Up in your business 24/7 without you knowing. That's why they're targeting you. Bought one pair of underwear, like you said, and now they're going to show you all the expensive underwear because you bought one.
Right. Yeah.
Propaganda. That's propaganda. And this is how they're trying to, get to us in the way without us knowing. They target us. All this Facebook, all those ads that pop up, all this stuff targets us. So, yeah, you're right about that, Z. All right. So, Michael, Mr. Ward, talk to me. What do you stand on this?
This is trash. I mean, Utah also. This is trash. I mean, Utah also declared pornography as a public health crisis. So obviously, like their focus is on pornography for whatever reason. And by putting parental controls only on cell phones in Utah, like you say, all I have to do as a kid is drive across state lines, or I can get somebody to get me a phone from state lines and figure it out. And hello, kids are smart. The same way when I was growing up and I just learned how to delete cookies, delete the history, or went over my friend's house and put the VHS tapes in, kids are going to find ways to disable these filters. So if we're going to charge cell phone manufacturers with only doing this in the state of Utah, that makes absolutely no sense. And I feel like that's a conversation that these parents need to have with their kids about pornography. If they're watching pornography, about sex, all of the things to me that I did growing up as a kid of watching pornography. And I had to have a conversation when I got caught with my father about it. And that came, from that. But I think the focus of spending tax dollars to pass bills on pornography for children, I just feel like it's trash. It's a waste of time. Have these conversations with your kids. They will find ways to find it, and they will find ways to disable the filters. And
as
all it
did.
takes is one.
And as we did.
Right. And one of the things they said in the article is because parents don't have the technological know-how. Well, if you don't have the technological know-how to avoid your kids from quote unquote watching pornography without these filters, what are you going to do when they have the filters on? Are you just going to let them go because you trust the cell phone? No.
They still got the internet. Okay.
So right. You still have the internet. You can find it. It's not that hard. I don't need
Twitter,
a filter.
Twitter.com.
Right. Come on, Twitter. Yes. I mean, so
it's a whole new thing, right?
And then also
conversations with the kids.
Yeah, and then you don't really need like the internet to find porn. You know what I'm saying? They still got, magazines and things like that. So yeah, whatever. Uh-oh.
Did you leave to go find that porn?
Okay.
I also just found it interesting too in this article that they said apparently that now pornography needs to come with a warning label in Utah, which I don't know. Like I said, I feel like they have a big focus just on combating porn for whatever reason in Utah. Hey, you're back.
I'm sorry. There we go.
I am sorry, guys.
I was like, did you go to find some porn in Utah?
I did. I went all the way to Utah to find the porn. No, I'm dead. No, this iPhone headphones, they always hang up. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to use this technology. Still trying to
right.
Okay. Utah, I understand for a little bit. They must have a lot of old people that live there, clearly, if they don't know how to use the computer. Because even my grandma, she had Instagram, she had Twitter, she had all that when she was alive. God bless her soul. Okay, she was with it all. So they need to get with the program. Get with the program. Okay. Let's do it, Aaron. Let's move to the next topic. This should be interesting. Let's get it.
All right. So. Dwayne Wade shares how he promised himself he would love unconditionally as a parent. Now, we're calling this progressive and intelligent because Aaron Mack loves the beauty and progressive intelligence of the Wades. That's Ms. Gabrielle and Mr. Dwayne Wade. And if you could pick one sentence from Mr. Wade's speech about parenting, how would you, or what would you implant into all the human parents' minds to make the world a better place? I appreciate. Okay.
No, go ahead, Aaron. Since you real fast, I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this because since you put this together, I always like to think know where your mind is going. You know how because you're very intricate in how you do this. So talk to me.
Well, I love the fact that yes, he said love unconditionally, and also in his talking about it, he explained that he would actually take the time to listen to his child. If the child when the child says something, he would take the time to listen to the child, to learn, not listen to just one ear closed. Okay, I'm listening, but listen to learn. That's me.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Aaron. Okay. Listen to learn. All right, parents, if you're listening to what we're doing, we want you to listen to learn. You understand? That's Aaron's input on this. And I'm going to give mine really fast and I'm going to move on. So with me being a parent, right, and listening to him, I was like, first of all, shout out to Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union because this is important, especially in today's time when it seems like most kids especially are LGBTQ in today's time. I don't know if it's just because everyone's being free and being themselves. I don't know. It's a little bit overwhelming for me just because growing up in our time, we weren't used to so much freedom in regards to all of that kind of stuff. We actually, went through the struggle of having to come out and, deal with those things. So I appreciate what he's doing and I shout out to them for being progressive parents in this new age and being able to be a forefront and use their platforms to, let it be light, let the light shine. And so you did steal mine, Aaron. I did want to talk about unconditional because that's one of my biggest things. I came up with something else. I'll let you have it. Unconditional love is something that is very important to me as a person, just in general, because I feel like ultimately that's what real love is, being able to be with someone and have unconditional love for each other. Two different people from two different lives coming together to make one life and have unconditional love. And so I always said that, unconditional love is important. And if I had a kid, I would give nothing but unconditional love because the kid doesn't have to be in this world. It's a blessing to be a parent. And so I love being a parent. So in changing mine from that one, I would say another thing that stuck out to me was he said that he didn't know. And because he didn't know, he wanted his, kids to explain as well as he can use Google and all these other things to be able to understand. Because I feel like that's being able to just say, hey, I don't know. This is what you say you are. This is what you coming to me with as a parent. I want to understand this. So tell me what it is. And I also use Google and other outlets to look it up too. But I thought that was super dope because that makes your child want you to be a part of their life and on this journey with them versus like, let me shut my parent out till I'm old enough to leave. Or I'll keep it a secret. So shout out to their daughter, because I started talking to Michelle Obama as well about trans lives. And I thought like, you better come home. You better come on out here 13 years old, being a staple and a martyr. Okay. So yes, do it. And Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, keep it up. Keep being great parents and keep being the shining light for those parents out there who may be confused or don't know. So yes, that's my 2 cents on this. I'm going to go to Michael on this one now. Michael, What did he say that stuck out to you? You can give a little basis and then go right to it. But talk to me.
Yeah, I love this so much. Just with the ways and how they're living their lives out loud and showing us like their journey as they learn and they educate themselves on this topic. And I want to say as well too, we have to remember as Black people, we're not monoliths, so we're not all the same. And especially when it comes to Black LGBTQIA people, not all of our stories are the same. They're not all traumatic. There are stories of children who liberated themselves and their parents are accepting and are willing, you know, to have this conversation and support them through this journey. So I just want people to keep that in mind as well too. Not every Black LGBTQIA plus person has a traumatic coming out or liberation story, as my friend Sensei Raven likes to say, coming into themselves. So I just want us to remember that. But the thing that I loved about Dwayne's conversation that he was having with these two men is definitely saying that I'm here as a parent, not to change you, not to say this is who you are, but it's my job to allow you to come to me and say who you are. And I support that and I lift that up. Like, and then he made the Lion King reference. So I think that that is so important because a lot of the arguments that people are making is that, they're too young to know who they want to be in this world and all of these things. But again, like I said in my earlier point, kids are very smart. Kids know how to use their words. And as well, kids to me are inspiring in redefining what it means to identify and reclaim yourself. And not have to necessarily fit into the old school logic and thinking that, like you said, a lot of us had to fall into. So I think that that is very inspiring on both sides of watching Zaya Wade's journey, of watching Gabrielle Union Wade's journey and Dwayne Wade's journey of raising her out loud and being unapologetic about it. I mean, and I think that's what pisses people off about it. There's no shame. There's no hiding it. This isn't something that we keep in the house as Black people. And you can do this at home, but don't do it when you get out in the world. But yes, watching her journey to liberation and to speak to Michelle Obama about that, like you said, it's just been incredible to watch. I'm inspired by these babies that, like I said, are reclaiming themselves and changing hearts and minds. And even as a Black gay man that is making me learn and grow and educate and have these conversations of what does that mean to be a person of trans experience. So thank you, Dwayne Wade. Thank you, Gabrielle Union and Zaya for allowing us to see this slice of life. And keep it going.
Amen to that. All right. Well, Z Fly, talk to me. Give us your opinion on the Wade situation.
Yeah, so from what he said, I definitely do. I do like the whole point where he was saying about unconditional love. Just giving your child unconditional love, because that one thing that's very important. If you're gonna have conditional love with your child, it's like how can you have a child? For women, they carry them 9 months, and then even for men, still that's your offspring. And just because they may pick or they do things that you don't understand, you just disown them. So I definitely, I definitely do agree with the unconditional love part. I do like the part where he was talking about, education, because I'm big on education. I always say that education is the thing that people need, to really understand anything, whatever's different or whatever you don't understand. Education is, what a person needs to understand, or at least try to understand, what the person or the situation may be about. But as far as the ways though, like I honestly don't see them as influential. And we're here, and the reason why, okay, I won't say I don't see them as influential. I would definitely say that with them trying to understand and be open-minded, it's very great. But I just feel like that. I feel like that by them not being fully educated or not understanding, that they're treating it with like baby glove hands, like you don't know what to do or what should I say or should I let you do this. At the end of the day, whether you black, you white, you got a big head, a small head, you homosexual, you heterosexual, you're still a child. And I just don't, and I just feel like that certain things, you know, even though he's trying to be this, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's just for the public. Now, I'm not saying he's doing it for public, but I don't know. It just seems like something is just like, at the end of the day, this is still your child. And it's like, to me, in my opinion, it's like with anything that a child may want to do. You know what I'm saying? Some children may want to do certain things in life, but do you just let them do it? My thing is understanding, listening to your child and let them educate you is one thing. But you don't have to give them or do everything that they want or that they're feeling. Because at the end of the day, you know, his child is still a young child. And so, I mean, so some of it, I mean, I just feel like maybe it could have been for the media or propaganda or whatever. But at the end of the day, I still think that by him wanting to know more and learn more is great. You know, to me, that right there, he's already way ahead of the game. You know, as you know, just like you said, Troy. So many people grew up with not even being able to talk to their parents, not being able to tell their parents, oh, I like the same sex, or this is how I feel, or I want to wear dresses. So they're already ahead of the game. But at the end of the day, still let your child be a child and you still be the parent. Like, for example, you know, a mom who's raising a boy, whenever he starts to go through puberty, she don't have the same parts, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like you let him just go do whatever because he gets anorexia. If a dad is raising a daughter, she's going through puberty, she's getting a period. So what do? You just let her just do whatever? No, you still have to parent and you still have to educate, but don't just, you know, I don't feel like you should let in other words, I don't feel like they should let their young child, you know, talk about trans. If that's something that he or she wants to do in the future, great. But at the end of the day, that's still a big process. And that's my whole thing. We still got to think of what actually comes with it. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna take a shot and bam, presto, I'm the other. No, it's the whole process that goes through this. So that's my only thing. I'm glad he's open-minded, but just still be a parent. Just because your child wants to go to school with tattoos all over their body and they're 10 years old, are you going to let them because they want to, because they feel like a rock star? You know what I'm saying? So that's just my thing. I'm really glad of the open-mindedness and the education, but still be a parent. You can't let them just do everything. Because at the end of the day, we've all heard this in the news about Zion. We don't know how she's gonna feel whenever she's 18 or whatever. So, you know, what's the name?
Her name's Zaya.
Oh, Zaya Wade. So can I ask a question about this as well, about what you just said?
You sure can.
So is it so I understand you correctly. So is it something that you're saying as far as right now be a parent and not allow her to transition? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Okay, and then also before I answer that, so can y'all educate me? How old is she?
She's 13.
Okay, thank you. Now to answer your question, yeah. I mean, think about it, 13 years old. I mean, we have to really think of what we're talking about. We're talking about a human being who has been on the world 13 years old. I mean, only 13 years. And yes, you know, in early stages, 5, 6, 7, 8, you kind of know what you feel. Cool. So if Zion, or I'm probably saying it wrong, if she feels that, you know what I'm saying, she likes this or this is how she feels, that's fine. But my thing is, do we have to go through the whole transition? It's not okay. She can just like what she likes.
Why not though?
We don't have to. Oh wow, 13 years old.
Why not?
Because one thing.
Because here's the argument that I hear a lot about. Oh, you're too young to know what it is that you want in life, and it's also, like I say, reclamation of yourself at 12 and 13 years old. Once again, we're looking at kids like they don't know themselves and who they are. So yes, there's transition and there's phases and different things like that as a teenager that I went through, but my identity and how I identified, I was very sure of that. You know, that I was very sure of that at 12 and 13 years old. And I was able to articulate to my parents at 12 and 13 years who I am and who I want to be in the future. So once again, I think as adults, we have this thing in our mind. I have a nephew that's 13 years old that's now, and I look at him and I'm like, oh my God, you're so young, you're a baby. And that's me from a 34-year-old standpoint. But at 12 and 13 years old, my identity and who I told my parents that I was going to be is still true at 34 years old. You know, so I think a lot of times we have this, they're too young, they don't know what they want to be, and we're obsessed with the genitals and the surgery and all of these different things of these children, you know, with that. But I don't necessarily think that, you know, that's for us to say. You know, they're not doing their job as a parent because they're allowing her to be who she is.
Well, let me ask you a question. At 13, did you want to be the opposite sex?
That's not my journey.
Well, no. Okay, right. But what I'm saying is, but even if that is her journey, still as a parent, how do you just let your 13-year-old just go through a surgery like that? Because she's feeling like we don't know
about the surgery though. So that also about that. Right. So nothing has been said about that, but you also have to keep in mind too that not every person of trans experience story will be the same. Not everybody has gender reassignment surgery. So you also have to keep that in mind too.
Oh, Aaron, you got something to say? Go ahead.
Please, thank you. And I love what everybody is saying, and everybody's bringing up really great points. I did want to say, as far as things like gender reassignment surgery, as it relates to people, as it relates to in transition, they say that from a medical standpoint, the younger that you start the transition, the better that it works in the long run. And also, I'll say, and this is something we mentioned last week, how, yes, detransitioning, I think it's called, is a thing. There is a group out there that has transitioned and regret it, and they go back to their original gender of their birth. But with that being said, only 8% of people who have transitioned actually retransition or detransition back to the gender of their birth. And of that 8% who have detransitioned and regret, 64% retransition back. So it's like they transition and say, yeah, I think I'm a woman or a girl in this case. And then they become a girl, live as a girl, say, no, I think I want to go back to living as a boy. Then they go back to living as a boy and say, you know what? Actually, I really do think I am a woman. But that's 64% of that 8% who detransition. And also I bring up myself. Oh, I wanted to say this. As one of the oldest millennials I'm a baby. When I was earlier in age, I knew something was different, but I realized I didn't have the language for it at the time. Now, with her, and I'm gonna mispronounce her name too, Zion, I think, but with her, I'm realizing, you know what, Zayn, yeah, she probably has the language for it because society has changed. While I didn't have the language for the fact that I liked boys since I was a boy, from the age of being a boy, she does have the language for wanting to transit. Done. Yeah. Sorry.
We're in a different. I'll say this and then we'll move to the next thing. But as a parent, now I look at things a little bit differently because you have to understand that ultimately you need to protect your kids, right? And today's time, the day we live in, everyone's not as accepting. You know what I'm saying? One. And two, kids, as you grow, when you reach puberty is when you really start to, that's like as a man or woman, puberty is the thing for you where you become like, start to become yourself. Your balls drop, you start growing hair, your voice gets deeper, whatever the case may be. There's a lot that happens. So I feel like you need to understand yourself. In order to understand yourself, you have to live a little bit. So you might say you want to be a woman and trans at 13 years old, and I'm going to support that if that's what my kid would want. But there's certain things and limitations that I will put on that because of today's society, one, and two, because the world puts so much in our eyes that we see. We didn't have access to seeing all this stuff now before. So not saying that we didn't know what we want. There was nothing wrong with knowing what we want. But ultimately, too, if you change yourself before puberty and things start happening, your body's still growing. So there's still things you have to grow into to understand yourself. So I'm not against my child wanting to transition, but we're not doing no surgeries. We're not doing all that kind of stuff until you're old enough, 16, 18, whatever the case may be, to understand your body's got to a certain point where you can understand yourself. Because I have had a friend, and I knew that I had a friend who was one of those 8% that detransitioned. So for me, it's like, as someone who knows someone who's done that, I don't want to have to go through that with my kid who just says, hey, I feel like this is what I am, and I see this around me, and it makes me comfortable, and I get it. You know, being LGBTQ myself, I get it. I'm not lost and I understand. I'm not trans. So I don't know what it's like to be trans. But I ultimately know as a parent, you are the parent, and there's certain things you need to put your foot on. There's too much freedom access to a lot of things because nowadays the sexuality, this freedom with these kids being LGBTQ and not being just all out and about. The reality is it's really fucking them up. And the reason why I say that is because some things people aren't ready to handle. And when you think about the real life of being a gay man and the shit you got to go through in 2021 with online dating and all this other that, this a lot of people don't already know themselves. So bringing these young kids into today's society, being so open and free, and we're still trying to figure it out. We can't have a regular app without it being about sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a lot. So it's a lot coming into. So pay attention. Look at their phones, see what they're talking, and be a part of their life. Be involved. Support them. That's it. All we want as human beings is support from our family and our friends. So I'm going to support all day, every day. But be in a place and understanding where you can really accept and know what you're doing, because it is a life change. This becomes your life. This becomes our life. If I'm your parent, your cousin, your uncle, your brother. So it's not just for them. It's everybody involved. And so just be thinking about that and put it out there. You know, to each his own. You can do what you want. People want to do what they want to anyway. Like we talked about earlier, they're going to find the porn. They're going to want to be openly free, and LGBT. All these things are going to happen. But today's time is different from when we had time, when we were living. We didn't see all these things. It was different. Yes, it was harder because can't come out because you don't know what to say. Like Z-Fly said, I don't know what to say. You know, I don't know the verbiage. I understand that, but that was all part of our journey. Their journeys are different, but we can't just open the door and say, go outside and do what the hell you want to. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some limitations on it, because at the end of the day, we will have to deal with that as a parent, as a family. We're going to have to deal with those repercussions. And sometimes if you put yourself out there too openly, too sexually promiscuous, some things happen to you. You know, molestation is real. You know what I'm saying? Thank God I haven't been. I know people in my family, other people who have, but you know, these things are out there. There's a lot of perverts out there nowadays. So just be cautious, be mindful, pay attention, and be supportive. All right, but anyway, we have to move along to our main topic. So this is going to end our live. So ladies and gentlemen, if you guys like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe to Verse TV. Please share it. Aaron's going to read our next topic, but then we'll be off live. You guys have to check it out on our YouTube show on Verse TV. This is week 100. Yeah, let's do it, Aaron.
All right. This topic is called The Homos, A Whole New World. Okay.
I love it.
Yes. So, what if everyone in the world, including you, became demisexual / pansexual, you know, parts not parts, to the extent that nothing else mattered beyond the heart and the brain of the partner, okay? Now, no medical / physical diagnoses, evaluation from the partners, none of that. Absence, presence of vagina or penis are seen as simply serendipity. And coincidentally, hetero pairings would still exist and populate the globe. So don't worry. Well, what if no, they still exist. Now, what am I missing, if anything, that would stop this from being the best, most beautiful world existence? And if you could live in such a world tomorrow, would you? Why? Why not? And I'm gonna turn off the live.